I've mentioned that I have grown up Catholic, and for anyone that grows up in a Christian environment, you may learn about the two kinds of sin, or error, if you like. Sins of commission and sins of omission, okay? Again, I prefer the term error because I think that I think it's a more loving term, because the way that we interpret it now, it's like if you try to dial up a website and you hit it and it doesn't exist, it takes you to the 404 error, right? You've missed the mark. You're just not where you want to be, okay? Whereas, even though sin means the same thing, I feel that we've got this really dark, negative connotation about it. And, really like a lot of this Christian imagery, we've got hang-ups on. So, I tend to use the term error instead of sin. I guess, no one really asked for that explanation, but that's why I use it. But within errors, there are two main kinds, okay? You can commit an error, or you can omit making a loving action. Okay, so let's talk about the errors, how they compare and contrast, and what would be examples of them, okay? So, first, with errors of commission, we're talking about perpetrating an act. We're talking about perpetrating a non-loving action, okay? Something is happening. One party or group or entity is putting forth out the energy on another person, group, or entity, okay, in a non-loving way. Whereas an error of omission would be when there is an allowing of a non-loving action to occur. Okay? Do you see the difference? So like, let's say, person X comes along and punches person Y in the face. Person X is engaging in an error of commission. But if I'm standing here watching it, I'm engaging in an error of omission for not playing a loving role in attempting to prevent a non-loving action from occurring. Okay, see the difference? One is the perpetrating of an action. The other is the allowing of a non-loving action. Okay? Now, like in our little example here, who has committed a bigger offense from the Creator's perspective? Well, it'd be person X, the person that actually committed the act, okay? But if I'm standing here and I know it's coming, see, that's the thing. You got to know. What's important about omission is that you know the truth and you are allowing something non-loving to happen, okay? So I'm talking to person Y, we're having a lovely conversation. And out of nowhere, I see person X storming down the street, winds up, takes a big swing, hits person Y right in front of me. And I do nothing. I allow it to happen. I'm guilty of an error of omission. That will darken my soul, okay? As an example. Now, the person who committed the action, their soul will darken more. Because from the Creator's perspective, sins of commission are more severe, more intense than an error of omission. But the point I'm trying to make here is that these are real. This really happens, okay? And I know that a lot of us who have been raised in Christianity like to throw out all of it because there's so much error in it. But there are bits and pieces of truth, right? And this is one of them. The Creator does not smile on her children when we allow non-loving actions to occur, okay? Now, let's take an example. Let's take another example. Okay? Let's say there's a person, let's say in this case it's a woman, okay? This woman decides to cheat on her husband. Well, she is using her own free will, okay, to go outside of her relationship, which obviously there's issues in the relationship if she feels that she needs to engage with another person outside of the relationship. She's avoiding feeling her own emotions. She's avoiding taking responsibility for herself. And she's acting in a non-loving way, committing an error against her husband by cheating on him. Okay? Now, let's say this woman tells her sister in confidence, okay? I need to talk to somebody, sis. I know you're always there for me. You always give me some good advice. You want a kind word. I can tell you anything. You're not going to judge. Those are all great things, okay? But if the woman who's cheating on her husband tells the sister, and the sister does not tell the husband that he's being cheated on, she's committing an error of omission from the Creator's perspective. Why? How did you come to that conclusion? Is it her responsibility to tell the husband that he's being cheated on? Well, it's not her responsibility to tell the husband he's been cheated on. But if they come into contact with each other, then yeah, it is her responsibility. Because guess what? She's keeping the lie. You might be saying to yourself, hey, you know what? It's not the sister's job to get involved in the married couple's relationships. Okay? Well, I would agree with that conceptually. However, the cheating sister in this situation already involved her. You see? Her living in error was eating away at her, and she needed to tell somebody. That's an addiction. Expecting the sister to placate and pander to her non-loving state is an addiction. If the sister comes across the husband and she does not say anything to him about this, she is stealing his free will. She's making a determination about how this person will or will not respond, which means she is holding power over a person, and she's making judgments about his ability to handle the truth. It is an error. It is not as intense or severe as willful non-loving behavior, but in this case, this woman is stealing another's free will. We talked about this concept with parents and children, right? A lot of times parents will use justifications why they don't tell their children the truth about anything, the world, their life, stuff in the news, how this place works, even about their own bodies. Why? Because someone else is making a judgment. Okay, remember, a judgment is someone else's view of acceptable behavior about what to tell or not tell a person, when it's really stealing their free will, because you're making a judgment that this person cannot handle the truth. And from the Creator's perspective, that is an error, because everyone can handle the truth. In fact, the truth is necessary for loving behavior. The truth is the foundation for loving behavior. Okay? Remember the equation for how we learn truth, right? Humility, which is our passionate desire to own and feel out of all of our own emotions, plus the Creator's absolute truth, so that we know His perspective. And when we allow ourselves to feel all of our emotions, when we hear the Creator's truth, that puts us in a situation where we can receive God's love, which is an energetic, soul-based substance that God's soul sends to our soul and then we in our physical body, we feel it. And it's like, whoa. This is the best. It's better than anything else. You know, you think about it, right? Are making these videos gonna win me any friends? I don't really see it happening anytime soon, okay? I'm sharing this information because I know the Creator's love is our life force. And it is better than anything else. Including any body part that my soulmate could offer to me. God's love it's better, okay? This is the truth. This is God's truth, okay? And by the way, I'm guilty of these things too, okay? I'm not trying to stand up here and say I'm perfect. Although, I'm working to be, right? All right. So what's the primary motivation or cause for an error of commission? Well, it's when a person is directing their non-loving will. This is what I want to do. So, like going back to our example of the case of the woman cheating on her husband, she's actively saying, yes, I want to do this. Okay? This isn't about blaming parents or any of that stuff. Now, the errors that create the situation where she wants to do that, yeah, the errors came from somewhere. But this is the difference. There's a difference between understanding where your errors came from and then recognizing that you as an adult are not removing your errors and actively using your free will to engage in non-loving actions. Okay? And then pulls in somebody else, making it even worse. The primary motivation for a person who commits a sin of omission, an error of omission, fear. Fear. Fear of sister's retaliation. Fear of, breaking up the family. The damage has already been done. And if it continues, it's even worse. Let's say this person here tells the husband, hey, you know what? Your wife, my sister, has been cheating on you. Then it's on the man, okay? He can reject that. No, she's not. You're a liar. And then what if he goes back and tells the sister, hey, your sister told me that you were cheating on me. I don't believe her. And then the sister turns back around and projects anger at you. When she involved you in her non-loving action to begin with, and you told the truth, and now you're getting hit again. All that proves is that this person is in serious error. Okay? And the fear inside of you will prevent you from feeling that. How about the other situation? How about this woman tells her brother-in-law, hey, my sister's been cheating on you, and they get a divorce. And now, house has to be sold, they gotta move, they're dividing assets. Sister says, you broke up my family. Really? No. The person who commits the act, that's the one who breaks up the family. How about a whole different example, okay? How about you are attempting to practice truth and you get invited to a holiday family dinner. and then someone says something to you, directly to you, that you do not agree with, and you know that person's in error. What do? Do you sit there and take it? Do you say nothing? Or do you defend truth? Or is there too much fear? It's easy to sit back and say to yourself, you know what? I don't do anything wrong. I try to be a good person. I don't harm anyone. It's only half of the equation. The other half is, am I allowing non-loving things to occur? Because if you are, again, not my opinion, it's the Creator's truth. Your soul condition is darkening. Okay? Of course, the way to get out of both of these is the same. Work through your layers of emotions. Depression covers anger, covers addiction, covers fear, covers grief. Okay? You start working through your emotions, you start releasing your fear, you will have no trouble with this. Now, it may confront other people in your life, and maybe your relationships change. There's a video called The Consequences of Telling the Truth. You might want to check that one out. Because you start telling the truth, yes, it will have effects, no doubt. But remember, the most important thing, what are we doing here? We're growing in love. We're developing a relationship with the Creator being, okay? The Creator being's love is our life force. It's the most powerful substance that is currently known, okay? And we all have access to it all the time. We actively choose not to receive it because of stuff like this. Okay? When you start taking a hard look at your life, you're going to find out that you're either committing an error or you're allowing an error to occur almost all the time. And that's going to be confronting. That's okay. Have compassion for yourself. Don't make judgments about where you think you are. Experiment with this stuff, you know? Remember, this gets back to telling the truth. Telling the truth can be really fun. Okay? Start small. Start small. You know, there's people that will lie for no reason, right? Let's say, like, okay, I have a friend. She'll say things like, oh, but yeah, I went to that concert last night. It was the best. There was 1 million people there. It was the best concert you've ever been to in your entire life. Well, you know, it was good. It was a really good show. Okay, that's the truth. It was a really good show. It wasn't the best concert you've ever been to in your entire life. There were 1 million people there. The venue can only hold 100 people. Okay, well, there was like maybe 70 people there. Okay, so it was a great show. You had a great time. There were 70 people there. That's telling the truth. You see, as opposed to if you allow that person to say, like, best concert I've ever been to, 1 million people were there. They're lying. That's, you know, this is how we can start small. Because, you know, if you find yourself in that situation, you can tell your friend, hey, friend, why are you embellishing? There's no need to embellish. To impress me? I already like the band. You don't need to impress me. Maybe the person's lying because they are attempting to inflate their own sense of self-worth, which maybe they can get to. They don't even realize they're doing it once you start defending truth and say, wait a minute, that's what you said doesn't make sense. And when you do that, and when you start building up the courage to face your fear and confront the lies that go on all the time, it becomes easier to do this. To the point where you won't even attract error anymore. Error finds a way of going away from you. Because guess what? That guy is going to say the truth. You know, a lot of people like to talk about like, oh, you know, I tell it like it is. You know, real tough. I tell it like it is, right? Are you projecting anger from your own personal perspective? Or are you in a loving state of being and you are reflecting how God would feel on this area right now? Because that's what it is. When you tell the truth, you are representing God's view. What an honor. Pretty cool. Okay. So, I just wanted to share this just to let you know that this exists. Okay? Love and peace, friends.